All right, I want to take you through this right off the top tonight before I get to anything else, because we have new details on the Mueller investigation. We're learning that Mueller does want to talk about obstruction with Trump, period. They've always wanted to, and there is an ongoing negotiation about how much will be written, questions and answers, how much will be oral, how long will it be, what areas. All that is true. But the biggest news today we see in the president's apparent response to this latest volley from Mueller. And it's this tweet right here, okay? You remember this tweet. This is a terrible situation. The Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, should stop. That's important. Why? Because you're hearing from his attorneys and his defenders. He would have said must stop if it were an order. This is just an opinion. That's for you to figure out, but it certainly matters for another reason. Why? Rigged witch hunt. Before it continues to stain our country any further, Bob Mueller is totally conflicted, and his 17 angry Democrats that are doing his dirty work are a disgrace to the USA. Is this an opinion or a dog whistle or both? I'm going to make the case to you here at the top of the show. Now, to Mueller, to you, to me, these tweets matter. Why? He's the president of the United States. These are official communications from our government. Even the White House was forced to agree with that. And it should tell you something that the White House avoided owning Trump's tweets as official statements for quite some time, but they are. And the latest spate has particular significance on two levels. He's calling for the AG to shut it down. Opinion, admission, order, whatever. And he is disparaging all aspects of those doing the investigating, okay? Both aspects of that pose problems, one in law, the other in politics. 17 angry Democrats. Part of a riff he's been on. If you see this collage of tweets that we have here for you. The White House and his attorneys, again, they say, oh, no, this is just what the president thinks. It's First Amendment. He's not you. He's not me. He's the president. He has control over these probes. He has controls over the institutions of government. So they're not just opinions. And when you say these kinds of things, he's doing two things. He's discrediting the probe, rightly and wrongly, and he's doing something else that I'm going to get to in a second. Now, what a president can and cannot do to influence an investigation that he is part of is up for debate. All right? There are different takes on it, but it's a real issue. And we know that these signals that he sends are relevant. His tweets show deceptions about what he knew and when he knew it, about Flynn, about why he moved on Comey, about what his motivations were at the time. All of this could very well matter a lot to people looking for proof of corrupt intent. That is the state of mind needed for obstruction of justice, and to look for acts that were intentional to stop or hinder a probe. Is that a crime? I don't know. But the tweets could be taken as admissions, proof of fact, proof of intent, and the president keeps making them. So that's the legal side I wanted to lay out for you. But there's something else that is potentially more important. They are a reflection of an ugly reality that Trump has tried hard to create. The division, as you know, in this country is really raw. And it's not really partisan. You could argue it's not partisan at all, that Democrats and Republicans are just collateral damage in what's going on. Both parties are on the wane as independents now outnumber both. And what we see are passions on the rise. Trump gets this very well. He plays to it for better and worse. I think that doing what works for him and his base, stoking discontent, abusing the truth, feeding conspiracy feelings, may come at a cost, okay? His lies have become so frequent, okay, when we look at these kinds of things, right? The Washington Post has the truth detector that they do on it. The fact checker says he now lies at a rate of more than 7.5 times a day to you. And that works. It's reduced the impact on you and the ability of the media to track the same types of data and make the case to you that it matters. This tweet about the tweet about the 17 angry men and the Mueller conflicts, if it smacks of Alex Jones junk, that's because a lot of it is. Remember, the president is privy to information that's way better than what I have and that what you have very often. He knows that Strzok didn't work the case against him in any real way. He knows Comey and Mueller and Rosenstein are lifelong Republicans that no one in our institutions have any real concerns about. He knows that Mueller didn't simply pick Democrats to be on his team as a lifelong Republican. He picked experts in money laundering and financial crimes. He knows the FISA warrants to surveil Carter Page weren't solely based on the dossier. He knows this. He's in charge of the institutions of government. He knows Mueller isn't conflicted out because of some golf membership or out to get him. He knows these things. He knows what's going on. So why is he ignoring what's true and cultivating a base that includes those who eat up conspiracies and dark mysteries of power? That takes us to the topic of QAnon, QAnonymous, Internet Conspiracy Collective. You see them at Trump rallies. They have their Seth Rich signs. We are Q, that's them. The Seth Rich things that you'll see come up here in a little bit. What is that about? Seth Rich was a young man who worked for the DNC. He was murdered. And they are ascribing it to a political plot that his family condemns and investigators dismiss. But they're with Trump. Why? Because he tells them on some level that what they want to believe is okay, that feeling is as good as fact. He has his people at his rally that look for the number 17 as signs of truth. Q is the 17th letter in the alphabet. Not that that helps make any sense of its significance to them. And they see Trump tweeting something like this: 17 angry Democrats. They take value in the number 17, a potential sign. I hope he didn't use that number for them. He hasn't always used the number 17. I don't see that as being intentional, but who knows these days. But he has their interest. So what are they doing now? Well, they join in support of him and attacks of others. You saw what happened with Jim Acosta. If we go back to this video, when it gets to where Jim was, you'll see there were a lot of those Q people who were in front of him. They were even stalking Stormy Daniels' attorney, Michael Avenatti. Why? Why go after Avenatti? Because he's identified as one of Trump's opponents. And they are now out to defend the president from their imagined array of opposition. And not a word from the White House about this. Well, actually, that's not true. Sarah Sanders did say this today.
Unfortunately, it's now standard to abandon common sense ethical practices. This is a two-way street. We certainly support a free press. We certainly condemn violence against anybody, but we also ask that people act responsibly and report accurately and fairly. We certainly support freedom of the press. We also support freedom of speech, and we think that those things go hand in hand.
Well, look, what did she avoid? She avoided saying to people, don't shout at a free press. Don't be that ugly. Don't be that hostile. Don't threaten violence like that. Be better than that. The Trump supporters are better than that. She didn't say that. Why? You decide. And what speech do they support at the White House? They support speech like when Sanders justified the president calling the free press scum, right? A stain on America, the enemy of the people. They support all that as free speech. But they don't support free speech when they don't like it. That's when they disinvite journalists and they shrink away from interviews and they won't put their people out on shows like this. So what does all this tell us tonight? The tweets matter. They could have significance to investigators who are digging for proof of intent, which the president seems all but too happy to supply. That could be dangerous. And so could feeding all these fringe groups that are finding comfort and a potential cause for action in Trump's scorched earth attacks on American institutions. Now, what is our job? To call it out, give the information to you, and let you make informed decisions. We are going to do that job no matter what the president encourages to stop us. In fact, I believe as deeply as anything that the president has made my job more important than ever.